What if the voice that you've been seeking is already calling you and your only job is to become the receiver? Today on the Some Kind of Mystic podcast, we talk with California-born, Australia-based trance channel Dave Johnson from Moonride. He joins me to share the wild origin story and his simple pyramid method that he uses to open. There's also in this episode a live transmission from Yeshua on moving from fear into love. We also get practical and talk about confidence, growing on YouTube without losing your soul, and pricing your spiritual work with integrity. Please welcome Dave Johnson to the Some Kind of Mystic podcast. Welcome, Dave, to the Some Kind of Mystic podcast. I'm so thrilled to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm really great. How about you?
I'm great as well. You know, I'm excited to have you on the show because you're also a trance channel. You're also in this world of calling through these energies, and I don't always have an opportunity to speak to someone, in the same exact field as me. So it's really exciting to have a channel on the show and to be able to talk about your journey to that. I know that you also teach channeling. So people are always asking me, like, how does it work? How do you get to it? And I don't really know the answers to those questions yet. So I'm excited to ask those kind of questions to you as well and see if the people that are listening can maybe have some of the things they come to me with answered today.
Sure.
Because the Some Kind of Mystic podcast is kind of focuses on the origin story of people, I'd love if you could share your story, how you came into your own level of mysticism or your own level of spirituality or your own awakening, whatever you want to call it, from, before and after. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. There's so many small little events that happened along the way. I should say, like, they're just like small little gems of things that didn't seem that monumental at the time. I'll tell you, I was raised in a totally rational household. My parents did not attend any kind of church. I heard both of them mention it a couple of times, like, don't be a hypocrite, right? And not judging anyone, just like, I'm skeptical. They're, I would say, agnostics. Although my mom is a little bit more religious than she was. So odd things happened during my childhood, which I did not have any kind of context for. And I didn't know anybody who was psychic, except that my aunt had said that she'd had a couple of these experiences. And I remember being very, very interested in those topics. But little things happen here and there. I had a little moment of Satori, right? And I didn't know what that was. I was just like, wow, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. I really did not understand that, but it was profound enough that I became very interested. And so I started sort of looking in that direction, reading books in that direction. And my minor in college was mystical philosophy. It was really philosophy, but I did the mystical stuff and I did Zen Buddhism and I tried this along with a variety of other philosophical systems. But I'd say that one thing that happened, and this is just knocked everybody's socks off along with mine at the time, is I took a class in college. I had probably the best philosophy teacher I ever had, which is a lady named Dr. Tandiaka. And we immediately went to this class and we're like, whoa, this woman is on another level. Okay. She had like 5 people like, I need to drop this class because she was so intense. And it was a pretty hardcore philosophy class after all. One of the people in the class was writing a book about channeling. I'm like, what's that? And she kind of summarized. I'm like, well, wow, that's fascinating. Last day of class, the teacher had a party. We really got on really, really well this class. And she says, hey, I'm going to go do it right now. Like, what? I'm going to go meet my friends. We're going to channel. You want to come? And it's like, midnight. Like, okay, I'm in college. So a night of cigarettes and constant coffee. And I, even now, have never had such an astonishingly accurate voice tell me about my life. It talked about everything. It knew about the ghost that visited me. It knew about my grandmother's passing and how I knew about it. When I say it, they were really channeling this entity. They didn't know, no money exchanged. They paid for the coffee. I'm sure I bummed the cigarettes back then. And it wasn't just me. I was there with a lady who was in the class and the assistant wrestling coach. Like, these were not like hippie, dippy kind of people at all. And we all walked out of there with like our mouths open. Like, how could they have known what happened on that particular in that particular place? And we were just stunned. I think I bumped into those ladies one time after that, never saw them again. And I looked for them and I still haven't been able to find them.
Wow.
I go home at the end of the night and it's the sun's coming up. That's how much we're talking. I go up to my apartment. I go to the trash to throw something away. I open the door under the sink where the trash is, and a Seth book falls off the top of the trash and lands on the floor in front of me
Okay, wait, why was it on the top of the trash?
because my roommate worked at a bookstore,
Oh
and
my
what I
god.
would do is give him the old books. I had never heard of Seth before.
Wow.
I didn't know what this book was. I picked it up and I looked at the front page and it talked about channeling, and I literally burst into laughter. I'm like, okay. And as my best friend would say, Dave, stuff happens with you, right? It just happened. You don't walk down the street and nothing happens ever. It's like, yeah, I guess I'm supposed to read that book. And I'm sure everybody has this experience reading set books. It's like it was written for you.
Mm.
And as you're reading, it's like it answers all your questions. So that was the moment where, and I still didn't, I mean, that was 30 years ago. I didn't think I was going to be a channeler at all. I mean, that's the furthest thing from my mind. I was trying to graduate from college. And so, but I was really, really starting to go down that road. I joined the Peace Corps because I wanted my philosophy to be real. I didn't want to be this abstract philosopher type person. I really wanted to, feel like I was doing my bit to be part of and help the human race. And I wound up going to this place in Hungary called Vats. Back in those days, Central Europe was needing English teachers, and I was the English teacher. And everything started to line up. The animal that always showed up from the forest is a deer, usually
I
male.
also have a deer. That's
Oh, do
funny.
you? Okay, no wonder.
Yeah, I always have deers find me somehow. It's very strange. Female.
Free female. Okay, well, mine's usually male.
Okay.
But I got to the school and there was the head of a deer above the school, and my coordinator was Anna Sarvash. Sarvash means deer.
Oh,
The
wow.
coincidences went on and on and on and on. And I met by an amazing, very mystical, sort of experience too. Two people. It was just an incredible sort of chance meeting who within a week are like, hey, there's this shaman we're going to go see. You want to go? And that was it. That's like, okay, now I found my practice. This guy was sitting across the room, and I swear to God, he was talking to me, you know,
Mm.
brain to brain. I was there for 3 months. Hungarian is very difficult. In that moment, I started to learn. I had been
Wow.
trying and trying and trying, but I finally said, Dave, just stop translating. Just get it in the moment.
Mhm.
And at certain points, people would tell me what we were going to do next because I wasn't sitting next to my friends at this point. And they would say, oh, he wants you to dance the dance of your animal. And I looked at him and I'm like, I just did that in my mind. I just did that. And it kept like 3 times. And I looked at this guy and I'm like, I've just done that in my mind. And like, what's going on here? The
Mm.
coincidences just lined up, 150 of them in the next 2 days. My
Wow.
best friend calls me on the phone and she's like, what is going on? All the windows of my apartment flew open. All the papers flew up when we were watching that movie about mysticism that I watched with you. So there's many other details here. But really, that was sort of the real point of the quest, right? Like that's where the lines really crossed in those two moments.
Wow, that's really beautiful. And so what was your first where you were channeling experience? How did, those energies come through to you?
Well, I did not start out as a trance channel. It
Mm.
was pretty yeah, I was doing my shamanic thing and I started to lead groups. I was largely not completely, but largely self-taught. I would just practice and practice and practice. And by the time I moved to Australia, which happened 10 years ago, I was leading groups, sometimes 12 people, and I continued that in Australia. But one day I came home from the United States and I'd been on a trip there, and we had a new manager who was like, I'm not giving you your job back. Like, you can come and be a teacher, substitute teach sometimes, but I'm just like, well, hmm. And one day I was supposed to show up for substitute teaching and I just completely forgot about it.
Mm.
I never do that. And I'm like, I can't do this job any longer, right? I just can't do it. What am I going to do? And to my partner's credit, I said, look, I need to figure this out for a couple of months. I have no idea what job I'm going to do. I thought I was going to start a bike helmet business. That was as close as I was getting to a new job. And I'm like, but I just need to sit here and like meditate a lot and think about it. And I meditated 3 times a day. And in between, I watched YouTube. And discovered, of course, there was a lot of politics going on at that time. And I discovered a few people, one of them being Lena Rodriguez, who were doing tarot card readings about the future. And I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. And of course, I was also getting up very early in the morning and I had some physical problems. So I was watching a lot of Abraham Hicks and
Mm-hmm.
I was watching this just manifest. And I'd been learning to manifest, and I was trying to do that with my body as well to get rid of some physical problems. So every morning I would start at the same time. I would just stretch my body, watch Abraham Hicks. I started to watch other manifestations, and it just came to me in a moment. Hey, Dave, you're supposed to do that.
Uh-huh.
And my first reaction was, come on, who do you think you are, Dave? Come on, that's just silly. You're not that person. Come on. You don't have that. You're not able to do that. That's just you. But it kept happening. I kept kind of hearing the message. You're supposed to do that, Dave. It's not that big a deal. And so finally, I started a, sort of meet up where I was sort of doing something like Reiki, and Reiki people were showing up and I was learning a little bit. And one day I said, just stop mucking around. Just do it. Just
Mm-hmm.
go onto YouTube and just make your predictions. Again, this was not trans channeling. It's a little bit like I would state a question and then I would see pictures
Sure.
and I
Yeah.
would say, this is what I think it means.
Right.
And I just did my first one. And I did the first one. I'm like, well, you're gonna make a total fool of yourself, but you gotta try things, just try it. Who cares? Nobody's gonna know, 5 people will watch it. And I went and I channeled a character who I called Man in the Moon.
Right.
I think is a collection of guides. I went to an auction and I bought something at an auction, and sometimes they like put stuff together with this, and it was just a $10 item. I go there and I go to the auction, and there's a box of stuff that I didn't know about. It was just kind of stuck in there. And one of them is this figurine that looks exactly like Man in the Moon.
Mm.
And this was 10 minutes after I'd made the video, and I'm like, another one of those coincidences. And I was like, well, wow, that's great. Well, that's interesting. And just beforehand, I'd sent a message to Lena Rodriguez saying, hey, would you tell me if I've got any talent here or not?
Mm.
And 99% of the time, she's like, another kook, another kook, another kook. But for some reason, she did. And so I
Okay.
talked to her and I said, were you raised on a farm? She goes, yeah. Was there a red tractor in front of your house? She goes, yeah. And I go, were there gypsies across the street who taught you how to do tarot? And she goes, just like this. I think you got it, kid.
I understand that. Yeah.
And so
Nice.
she sent me my first client. She put me on this show, and I was off and running. I
Beautiful.
still wasn't doing trance work, but I was doing kind of predictions based on my images. I wasn't a psychic and I didn't read tarot, and
Mm-hmm.
spirit told me that. They're like, no, you're a channeler.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of years before I actually trance channeled, and I did that with a group that I'd assembled, right?
Okay.
So, or at least was assembled and I arrived, because I
Yeah.
really needed people around me to just make sure this was done safely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And that just I mentioned that because there's a lot of people who hesitate to do that, and I can really understand why.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have somebody there who's like, walking you through it,
Yeah.
and get a glass of water afterwards. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
group of this consciousness collective did with me. They all at some point straight up trance channeled, and that's when the trance work really came through. And it's just really unique in the sense that I don't necessarily remember what I said.
Right. I'm the same.
Yeah, don't remember it. I bet you're the same in the sense that it's like it's a different voice. I do different vocabulary than I normally would
Same.
use. And I don't say ever.
Right. Same with me.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously we got the same thing going on.
Yeah.
Uh, it's also talking about stuff I don't understand, you know?
Yes.
Way ahead of me. I'm like, okay, maybe this is my unconscious, but it
Mhm.
certainly is smarter than my consciousness because I don't know what karma is.
Right.
I'd love to. And afterwards I have to watch the video and be like, oh, and it's like I'm watching somebody else talk.
Do you often watch the videos? I know, like, for me, with the quantity of what comes through, I don't really have time to go back, and I'm already on to the next thing, and I just hope
Yeah.
whatever's meant for me kinda sticks, like, the residue of whatever's happened is teaching me at the same time, because to go back
Mhm.
and look at the actual information is impossible.
No, it is so vast. It's again like reading the Seth book cover to cover. It's pretty vast. So
Yeah.
no, I don't necessarily have time to do it all. But
Right.
sometimes I'm working with this fellow right now and we're creating a book. We've sort of channeled the masters. And as I work with this fellow, he's like, look, you gotta read this. This part's for don't miss this place. And so then I will make myself go and read it. But
Sure.
yeah, people think this job is just like, oh, you just get up and channel in the morning. It's just not that way, is it?
Right. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's part of it,
Yeah.
you can just do that, and you can just, like, release into it, but, what I'm imagining you and I do is more of the support to whatever energy that is, and, like, who's putting up the videos, who's creating the books, who's,
Right.
doing whatever is going on behind the scenes, and that's a lot of work, like, just to
Yeah.
support the message getting out there is
Mhm.
basically what I think my job is, and then the
Yes.
channeling is like, "Okay, that happens."
It's like the icing. Well, there's also the body in which we have to
Yeah,
take care of.
absolutely,
You
yeah.
gotta be very, you gotta be healthy, and spirit will come in and say, no more 8 cups of coffee a day, Dave. I'm like, ah, man.
Right, yeah.
And there's that battle.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I've got it down to 2.
Yes,
And so
yes,
you go
yes.
through that. It's like, they're like, look, you gotta be healthy and your mind
And your
too.
relationships and your, everything else you're constantly clearing out because if you don't, they'll energy will address that. I
Yes.
like to say it that way. And what we call coincidences, you're gonna have circumstantial things that pop up that are gonna teach you to take care of that thing that you're not dealing with, because it's required. They won't let you channel if you're not handling all of the stuff in the back end of things. But for you, do you become energized at the end or drained? How are you physically after you come out of trance?
Not too bad. This fellow that I'm working with sometimes is just like, I don't see how you could do this. I don't see how you
Mhm.
could go for 3 hours.
Right.
Um, yeah, I'm a bit tired after it. Pardon me. I think it's important to do work afterwards, like clearing. This is one thing that I always do. I'll just hit it for
Right.
bowl is really nice to clear stuff out. And pardon me, I often use it with my clients as well, that when they really get something like, hey, this is profound, ding, let message out in the
Feel it
universe
in.
or something. So excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. I have to keep it fairly limited. I can't go crazy here. I'm getting to the point where I'll only do one client a day.
Okay.
It's just kind of it does wear you out after a while.
Okay, I see. Yeah. I think it's different for everybody, or at least, for me it's quite energizing and revitalizing as long as I remember to ground. As long as I remember to get back in my body afterwards, then we're
Uh-huh.
fine. If I let it continue being floaty, then at some point I'm going to hit a burnout. So it's really important for me to come back and like eat a bowl of cereal or like do some sports or something. Yeah, so, you know, your channel, your YouTube channel is quite grown. It's quite large. And, people are always asking me, how do I get my message out there? Like, first of all, how do I get the confidence to do this in the first place, whether it's channeling or their gift in healing or whatever it is? And then how do I grow that? So I'd love to talk a little bit about the human experience of like going from that, oh, only 5 people are going to see this to actually, I have a stable audience and I know the messages are getting out there. So what was that experience like for you?
Well, that is a critical question. And I'm still asking that every single day. In the beginning, when they're doing predictions, it's very popular. You
Sure.
know, people love predicting, and there's a need in some sense just to have that kind of control. Like, Dave, what's going to happen?
Right.
I just need to know. Nothing terrible is going to happen. In the beginning, especially as I was doing sort of predictions, people would want to know, should I sell the car or not? Totally
Yeah.
legit. And if you do predicting, there can be a lot of hits. I did one for doing predicting last year, and I got 160,000 views,
Wow.
right? So it can be very, very tempting to stay there.
Sure.
But one thing that I think is somewhat different about my channel is, as I was looking at these political events, I was
Right.
also saying, let's look at the meaning of this rather than go in the stress of the event and not having the control over the event and wanting the control of the event. Let's say to ourselves, how am I being changed?
Sure.
How is this a
Absolutely.
positive experience for me? If I'm
Hmm.
experiencing worry right now, and we're all experiencing lots of worry right now, what
Absolutely.
is it teaching me? How can I improve myself and advance myself? So it's really very tricky to walk both of those lines, right? So no criticism of people who do political predictions, but I am less in that camp as I was before,
Right.
because
So you have less. Also, I imagine that looking at anything in this perspective, your bias is also shedding. So any bias that you had, if you're
right,
reflecting it back to how is this serving me, then
right,
really you start to have less opinions and you start to
right,
have more sovereignty about like how is anything that occurs affecting me on my own growth level, you know?
yeah.
So it's I can get that. Yeah, I understand.
That's exactly how I like myself to be able to present it. There is
Mhm.
a certain layer of, well, to some degree, and we don't want to justify anybody's actions or behavior.
Right.
Yeah. It it's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to go through this lifetime and I'm supposed to experience, and maybe
Yes.
even I'm supposed to experience anger and outrage, but also maybe I'm supposed to experience some level of acceptance.
Right.
I also do past life regression, and
Mm.
the nicest human being will go back to a past lifetime and then be like, "Oh God, was I
Yeah.
awful?" So there started to be, even doing the past life regression, an acceptance of, you know, everybody's done bad things. Everybody
Yeah.
in this lifetime has done some awful things. So stop judging them.
Yeah.
Don't
Bad
judge.
is also, is also a very human um way of viewing things. We like to put things in categories. But if you zoom up even just a couple levels outside of individuation, what you end up with is like you get why whoever has taken on the role of the villain had to
Yes.
do that for
Right.
the collective good, because without the
Right.
villain you have no story, without the story you have no growth. And so it all makes sense when you look at it zoomed out a little bit. Now, of course, we still have human preference. We don't want people to be hurt. We don't want people to be
Right.
taken advantage of. And you have to, again, it's like you said earlier, it's like, where's that balance? Like, how can I live
Yes.
my human life and also have this perspective of
Yes.
everything is actually perfect? And, there is
Yes.
that
That's a great way
sensitivity.
to put it. Great.
Yeah.
Exactly right. I couldn't have said it better myself. There is maybe a little bit more in moving that direction. And one thing I will ask people who are doing this work is, ask your guides.
Right.
I often have no idea what I am going to do today.
Yep.
Like, and the difficulty of this job. It's so much freedom. It'll drive you crazy. You get up in the morning, it's 9, and you're like, what am I going to do today? What do I channel on?
Right.
I've done that. I don't want to do it's happy clappy pablum. Oh, it's all going to be good. People have already heard that.
Right.
Do today? And or what decision should I make? Or should I try this? Or should I do that? I really will go, all right, spirit, you tell me.
Yep.
Tell me what I'm supposed to do. And I will always get a directive. Often my clients will show up and they will tell me what to do. And I'm sure this happens to you too. You will get the client that's basically you. and
Yes.
you'll and you'll give them information. You'll be like, how about the, you really should. And at the same time, you're like, okay,
Why aren't I doing this?
follow your own advice. Okay, Dave. So I really encourage that. I would also encourage people to not worry too much about how many people watch your videos,
Yes.
because there are videos that should be seen by 3,000 people. That's just what should happen. And it does not matter if it's 3 people or 3,000, they should see that video.
Hmm.
And if you just pragmatically speaking, think of the stuff that you watched on YouTube 10 years ago. None of it is the same now.
Right.
Not the people who I watch on YouTube are the same as they used to be.
Hmm.
So who knows that word is? Be true. Just be true to yourself. It might not necessarily net you money in the beginning, It might not ever net you a lot of
Yeah,
money or a lot of views, but if you are dedicated and true to it, you are doing your word. And I understand we all got to do the promotion. We all got to watch the videos on, how to make numbers happen. I mean, there's a business person aspect that I find incredible. Like, who knew, Jessica, you and I would be business people?
yeah,
Like,
that's right. It's satisfying though,
it's kind of satisfying. It's like,
Yeah,
wow, we're capitalists. How amazing, that worked out that way. But, there is an element of the sort of balance. I'm sure you've asked this question, how much should I charge? I mean,
sure.
and like shaman or, Jesus, they didn't like take money, right? Maybe they get a bed to sleep in and a glass of wine, they didn't get money out of it. So how much should we charge? And there's a balance. We got to live and we got to eat. Maybe we even got to travel a little bit to do our work. But of course, we didn't gouge anyone and then charge a cajillion dollars, right? It's got to be somewhere in the, kind of slightly above the middle. I'm actually just achieving the middle these days, but somewhere in there, we have to make a decision.
Yeah.
And truly spiritual people, we know that's part of the path and every
Well,
day.
there's also the school of thought that like with the amount that you put on YouTube and that you're offering for free, like everyone has access to that. If they're going to watch, the ads before and after, if they're going to play the YouTube game, then they're getting that content for free. There's also the school of thought that those people who can, let's say, have a one-on-one session with you or can buy a book or whatever it is, those people are actually part of your team. And they're actually the investors in you being able to offer more free content to people, across the board. So I think that that's a beautiful way to frame it because it gets around a lot of our programming about, money and the conditioning we have that makes that topic a little sticky for a lot of people. So that's
Yes.
what I would add to that, like charge what you need to feel good about what you're doing, because
Yeah.
everyone I know who's in service to others is offering so much of themselves for free anyways. So,
Yes.
allow yourself to have your team of collaborators,
Mhm,
investors,
mhm,
benefactors, people who
mhm.
are giving you the ability to share with others. And that's how I, would frame it
Great
for
way to
people.
frame it. That's a
Yeah.
great way to frame it. Yeah. And, people can learn to channel by watching me channel
Yeah,
or
brilliant.
take a class. It's fair to have a tier. But again, to anybody out there who is doing this work, it's like the work is the important thing. And if you can find a way to support yourself doing this work, bravo, right? But it didn't happen right away. I didn't get paid a lot as your local neighborhood shaman. I think I got $100 once.
Mm,
It's like it was many years, and I mean 30,
yeah.
before I found any way to make my spirituality pay enough for me to eat. And that's the truth for you. You probably had a lot of jobs where you were like a fish out of water, and they were like, "Who is this person working at this job?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?" But I could beyond that. I don't. I mean, I really did give a lot of credit to Lena Rodriguez because I really would not have made it without her
Right.
in my show and her generosity.
Yes.
Would say that for a community of people. They were very kind and generous. I really, really appreciate that. But I would say the most important thing is to, do those foundational things that we were talking about. Listen to spirit, take good care of your body physically. Notice, your relationships are going to reflect you back to you, and you're going to have to work on those at the same time. And things need to be in fairly good order for
Yeah.
you channel, at least trance channeling. Other than that, I don't necessarily know why my channel grew the way that it grew.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I was wondering, would you like to do some channeling for us today in the show? Maybe a few minutes and have a few questions for. Well, who would be coming through? Because I know that you have different access. Would it be the man in the moon, or would it be something else?
It could be it probably would be something different.
Okay, brilliant. All right. So, what's your process for getting into the channeling state?
I'm going to pause this episode for just 1 minute because if you're enjoying this conversation, I wanted to remind you that there's so much more waiting for you over at jessieherman.com. Whether you want to go deeper with Vagrein transmissions, unlock a new level of clarity through one-on-one sessions, explore a library of courses, channeled activations, meditations, or join our incredible Vagrein membership community, everything is there in just one place. You can dive into the Self-Love Odyssey Toolkit, join one of my live online events, explore past replays, or step into our membership where you get the Vagrein cafes, the WhatsApp community, the Shifties morning practice, the transcript library,
and so much more. So if you're feeling the energetic pull to work a little bit more closely with me, that yes in your body, head over to jessieherman.com and see what calls you. You'll find everything designed to support your expansion, your grounding, and your shift back to your true self. All right, thank you for listening, and now back to the episode.
Glad to tell you how I prepare, if that works for you.
I'd love it, yeah.
Okay, great. Then maybe we'll compare styles here. And I'll tell you, this method was delivered to me. One day I had a session with a client, and this whole method came to me right in the middle of the client session. She was mystified when I led her through it, but it works for me. So I did not read about it. Spirit, again, just delivered it. So first thing that I do is I try to put the events of the day and the distractions and whatever's going on in the world, I try to always sort of put it into the earth. And what I do is I imagine there's a pyramid, and this pyramid is pointing downward, and it's made of crystal. I'm inside the pyramid, and through my feet, I just put in all of the, don't forget to take up the trash. You got to pick up that at the store, etc. All that stuff through my feet, through my sit bones, like a lightning bolt. I try to put it into the earth. And I always say this, Mother Earth will transform this and make it into something beautiful. And this is the way that I'm doing the grounding that you spoke of. And as I put the energy into the earth, these days, I actually see my energy go to the ley lines and connect with the ley lines, which are sort of these red lines throughout the planet Earth. And in that sense, I sort of connect to the earth and to all the other people who are connecting to the ley lines. And I just give myself a moment. And as I'm doing this, oftentimes stuff is, what about this? I'm like, no, we're not talking about that now. We're going to talk about that later. Put it into the earth. All right, that seems to work. That is, I think I'm pretty much finished with that part. There's a second pyramid. This one's a normal pyramid pointing up. And when I put that up, I put that over my head. And as I put it over my head, I try to think of love. That's what I should say. I do think of love, and I just think of these events in my life where people have shown love to me, kindnesses. And this is always a nice part, because you'll remember if you do this. Oh, yeah, that 6th grade teacher of mine, she was really nice. Remember that time? Yeah. And I'll put that sort of in my pyramid. Right. And then I will think of my family members who have passed, who loved me. Right. So my grandparents are in there, and my aunt is in there. And I sort of picture them. And I have them in the pyramid, and their sort of work is like guides as protection. There are other energies that I call in these days, but they're kind of symbolized by a lion. It's totally new. I don't know why, but they're symbolized by this lion. And that's, north, south, east, west, each kind of energy, stuff I've channeled just shows up. Put it all in the top pyramid. And then I notice the color. So right now the color is like a smoky white color. And I'll just tell people, if you're going to do this, if you ever get a pyramid that's black, just black, or even fire engine red, you might be a little angry right now. There's nothing wrong with that. Work on that, and then come back and do the channeling later. It's just a signaling like you're going to get distracted. Since it's milky white, perfectly good color, I'm going to lower that pyramid around me, and so that I'm in both. Now, I did this before our session, so this is going to be pretty fast, right? And I do this every single morning, and I always do this before I channel. And you can probably see my body starting to circle. And that always happens when I'm doing spiritual work, or even when I encounter a spiritual person. And can you tell me your name again? Jessie, your full name?
Jessie Herman.
Jessie Herman. And I asked that because I tend to channel a variety of things. And sometimes, like, if I'm doing it for a client, I'll get their guide. But it's kind of like, my feeling is sort of like, who would Jessie like to talk to today? Might not necessarily be your guide. I'm seeing some stairs. I often see stairs. And this is great. I see your face. I get to the top of the stairs, and there's another flight of stairs, and you're there, and you're like, yeah, Dave, go to town, right? So I'm seeing you. You're smiling very broadly. It's almost like you're giving me sort of permission to do this. Again, I don't know who we're going to encounter. But tell me, Jessie, Is there someone you'd like me to channel?
Well, there's nothing specific. I know I have a lot of different energies, so I would love for whatever would like to reach me that perhaps doesn't normally have access to me to come through.
Well, I'm seeing a lady. She's sort of in a like satin and white. She has almost like a magic wand in her hand. I would say it's like kind of looking like Tinkerbell, but this material she's wearing is like heavy. It's like taffeta. It's white, but I should say like heavy damask kind of feeling. I don't know why that's important, but somehow it's very intriguing how it's almost I'm getting to the intensity of this material. A name shows up. It sounds like Anilla. Often they will give me sort of simpler names than their real names because it makes us comfortable. She's showing me the okay, but she's pointing in a direction. So it's not necessarily her. Oh, she has a feeling of like your fairy godmother or something. So she's actually like, I'm just showing you the way, right? Very beautiful, luxurious sort of creature, this lady. Okay, there's the lion again. And who else? Who would speak to us today? Okay. Well, it feels like Jesus. And I always do this, although I've met him many times, and he doesn't care if we call him Yeshua or not. Jesus or Yeshua is fine, and I've met him many times, but I'm still going to ask, can you show me something that lets me know you come from the light? I think it's important to follow a strict practice, asking spirit to show you something so that you know it's not something in disguise, right? So what would you show me, Jesus? Yeah, all right. This image makes me feel good, and that's the key. Shadowy forces, fake forces, they can't fake a good feeling. They cannot fake love. I can also tell because when I get to Jesus, I get really emotional. Like I'm kind of ready to cry. We're present today, and you may call me Yeshua or Jesus. It makes no difference to me. We are here today to speak to you with love. This is a difficult time, a time of great change. It is important to remember the love. So, we would present to you anything you wish. What would you like to know?
So, hello, and thank you for being here. Clearly, we're speaking in a moment that is quite significant historically, that is related also to your story and to your origins, your background, and the beliefs that you had in your human life. What is happening in this current window? What can or how can we solidify our strength in remaining in love and not falling into fear? And what would be your message to calm the hearts of those who are in fear in this now moment?
These are very good questions. The most important thing for everyone to do right now is to approach that which is before you with love. There are people who you will very much disagree with, you will disapprove of, you will feel very challenged by. It was my task to approach all people with love, all of them, every single one of them, the worst and most terrible person that you might, for example, consider terrible. All of those people are reflections, reflections of yourself. And that is how we would ask you. We say we, because you might consider us a sort of collective. That is how we would ask you to approach all of these characters in the field. And we say characters in the field because they are there to teach you something. They're there to help you move through fear, as you've called it, into love. And all of you are very capable of doing this. All of you listening were chosen at this time to do this thing, to live in this way, to experience the contradictions, to experience the change that you have when you move from fear into love. All of you are here for this explicit purpose, and it will be helpful for you to know that is of great value. Only you could be here at this time to experience your own personal changes and the changes that are drastic, that are changing the planet very rapidly, changing the nature of the universe. So it will be helpful for you to know that you are all very special. You have all manifested yourselves, shall we say, at this time to evolve in this particular way. and you will all succeed. It may take more than one lifetime. It may take more than one day, but you will all eventually succeed. We are just here to help you along the way. All of those who have come to guide you are here to help you through this difficult process, and we want you to know we do it with great empathy. We do not judge your mistakes. It is very important that you do not judge the mistakes of others and don't misunderstand. If you see something that is wrong, it is important to meet it. It is important for you to say, this is wrong. But it is also very important for you not to feel superior to the one who has done something wrong. Remember that you have also done things that are wrong, and you will do them again. You perhaps were just ignorant. You did not know. When Dave was a child, he was 5 years old perhaps, and he was playing a game of cards with his little brother, and he was cheating. He was playing a simple card game, and of course he would take the cards from the bottom of the deck so that he could win. But eventually he realized that this wasn't right. It was wrong to cheat his brother, who was innocent. It was also not very much fun to always win. And in that moment at 5, he realized he shouldn't do this. He didn't know this. No one came and taught him this. He learned this. All of us are learning such lessons, no matter how good we may behave. We are all learning these lessons. Others are learning more dramatic lessons, and you might see yourself in contrast to them. But realize you are all learning the same lesson here on Earth, with the limitations perhaps of the body. You are all here to learn. And if you feel yourself getting distracted, if you feel yourself feeling rage or sadness or anything else, come back to the spirit of life. Come back to yourself and say, I am alive now. I am learning now, and learning is good. This is our best advice on this subject at this time.
So if Earth and humanity as a collective is learning this soul lesson now, and this lesson was, let's say, a movie that you could go see in the cinema, what would the title of this movie be?
We might call it Change and Revelations.
Beautiful. So thank you for that. And, as both Jessie and Dave here are channels, I'd like to talk about what the role of channeling is for bringing through messages and why it's becoming so accessible and popular right now in the collective.
This was, of course, as was supposed to happen. Let us say we don't want to use the term masters of the universe, but we cannot think of another term. Let us say the light. Perhaps that is better. The light knew very well that this would be a time of drastic change. If you can look around you, you can see things are moving very quickly. Technology itself has moved so quickly that it has actually caused a great deal of stress, and many are in this time reeling from the stress. They may go to a certain attitude of historic, what they might seem as a better time, and try to enforce such a time. And as they do this, they feel safer from the drastic changes that are happening. They might be so uncomfortable with the changes that they will pretend that they are not happening. At the same time, these drastic changes are occurring. This gift has been delivered to you. You can speak directly to spirit now. And so we have thrown this in as a sort of balance. There's just a way for you to be in relationship to this changing world. That is, there is the shadowy material, the difficult material to go through, but there's also this beautiful light, this ability to connect with spirit and to share that spirit with one another. You might notice that around you, there are many people who are working in this spiritual capacity, many more than were working before. And they are also able to connect with the same technology that is rather driving you mad. They are also able to connect with you and create a force for positive change, a force which, as we've noted, is a little bit less judgmental and a bit about the connective force of the universe.
So would the channels of today be the equivalent of the prophets of your time?
Well, We don't want to compare in some sense because they are different, but that is a worthy comparison, that they are something like the prophets. They are speaking in a particular way and about a particular subject. So we can say that there is a reasonable comparison. The problem is that some people might hear this and think that the channels think more of themselves than they do. We don't think that they do. They are not presenting themselves as prophets.
Sure.
You and Dave are presenting yourselves more like a telephone to spirit. You do not claim to have the power and the wisdom and the knowledge. You are hands off and say, look, I am speaking a knowledge that I don't necessarily understand. This was a little less possible for the prophets. They were in a difficult and different position than you are today. But there is that similarity.
Yeah. So what you're saying sort of is the mechanism is the same, but not the role.
That's quite right.
Yes. So I'm going to have some personal questions here as well. Is there anything specific that I should know to continue my work in the ways that are most in service to others and also into service to self?
You should take comfort in knowing that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. And this is the case for everyone. It might seem difficult in some aspects, but whatever you are learning is important to learn. Your soul wants you to learn that, and you are doing just fine. We would say you, in particular, are very much doing the work that you chose to do before you were born. You are shedding the light, you are sharing the light, should we say, and it is working out just fine. As you move forward, there will be, of course, some steps backwards. We would say, don't ever look at a mistake and say, oh, I was mistaken. Look at a mistake and say, what did I learn today? Don't put yourself down for making an error. If you made an error, it was supposed to teach you something, and that's all. Accept that and move on and let it go. And we would say that advice to you. Don't dwell on any kind of errors. You are perfect the way you are. You are moving forward, and that is as it should be. We would just say, keep going, keep doing this, and keep listening to the light. It will guide you. And if there's anything we would really encourage you to do is just keep listening to the light. Just keep being guided. Do not worry about other details beyond this. They will be corrected in time.
Okay, thank you for that. And so I know often humor and playfulness brings a lot of relief to people. Can you talk to us from that perspective and point of view so that perhaps we can see what's unfolding on our planet from that space of innocence and joy?
Of course. Now, we would point something out that's very amusing for Dave is that often when he meets me, and he meets me in a particular place on the Danube River where he used to live. And when I first showed up, he was very reverent. He was praying. He was genuflecting. And we told him, for goodness sakes, would you stop doing that? We're here as your friend. Could you please just relax? And then we would produce some dice from our pocket, and we would insist that he stop being reverent and that he play a game with us so that he would know we are not here to judge. We are here to help you to expand. And it is our pleasure. It is our pleasure to meet those who are not necessarily fully conscious. How could you be on the planet Earth? It is our pleasure to work together with you, and we don't hold such a critical view of what you're doing. It is a little bit like we've been through many, many lifetimes, and we say, ah, yes, he is in that portion. And if I'm able to look at my own lives as a collective, I can see that, oh, yes, I have been there too. How can I help now? And part of it is a challenge for us. But in this state of happiness, maybe we would say, there is a great experience that all of you are having that you sometimes forget about. There are these moments of joy. You will be overwhelmed by the information that is coming in, and you will tend to tune in to the most dire information. Realize that this is 1% of the information. 99% of the information is the beautiful baby that was born, or the new friendships that are being made, or the experience of somebody understanding something new for the first time and expanding. If you spend too much time watching these negative events, you will miss all of the beauty that is going on. The flower that grows outside of your door is beautiful. Don't hesitate to spend time doing this. And in this time of so much technology, it must be chosen. You must force yourself to enjoy life a little bit. You must take time to take time. You must choose not to tune in to any technology for an hour, to spend that time coloring with crayons. We have been trying to get Dave to paint, just paint, for years. He will not sit down and do it. This is a message for him, for goodness sakes. Just enjoy your life. Be. Just be. There's nothing imperfect about just being. You don't always need to accomplish these things. Be with yourself. If you don't spend some time with yourself, if you don't spend time enjoying life with others, at the end of your life, you will have great remorse. You have this chance now to be you. You have this chance now to experience life with all of its feelings. That is to be experienced. On the other side, we have great desire. In some sense, we would like to be human so that we can taste things, good and bad. We can experience things, good and bad. Do not forget this beautiful time that you have on earth. It might be full of worries, and your brains and hearts tend to go there sometimes because that is a little bit how the human being is wired. But don't forget to notice the beauty. We would also suggest, when you get into moments of confrontation, if you can transform the moment of confrontation into a joke that makes people laugh, the confrontation will disappear. You will find that even the person who you are arguing with, perhaps they have stolen your parking space, even that person will not be able to resist laughing. They will not be able to resist liking you. They will not be able to resist seeing what they have done and saying, well, perhaps that wasn't the best thing. If you approach such a person with anger and violence, nothing will be learned. You will not gain anything. You may feel temporarily better, but it will not last. You will still go over the moment and think, oh, I should have said this or I should have said that. But the truth of the matter is, in those moments, and we would encourage you to think of the times when you created resolutions through love or humor. If you go back in those times, you will find that you don't dwell on them. You're not worried if you've fixed something. Look at those times and pat yourself on the back and say, wow, what did I do really well then? How could I do that again? And at the very least, realize that these moments are there to teach you something. Perhaps they are there to bring you closer to the light and to be an example of one who is closer to the light, of one who enjoys the company of others, of one who is able to help people along, just as you have been helped along. Is this what you were after?
Yes, this is absolutely what I was after. And I think it also ties up with my next question of what's an important message to humanity right now. So I want to thank you so much, Yeshua, for being here with us and for having this conversation with us and for being with us all the time, even when we're not having conversations. So many blessings to you and much gratitude.
It is our pleasure. Remember, this is like a play. You are something like an actor. This will not last forever. Enjoy your time here and make the most of it. And do not worry so much. Give yourself free time and don't worry over your errors. All will work out in the end. You will learn. Everyone will learn. And we will send this message of love right now. We would ask that you connect to the love. It will take you all the way. And with that, we will cease this transmission. Love to you all. All right. Okay. So,
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was really
yeah, my
wonderful.
pleasure. Again, I'm not sure I remember anything.
Yeah, no, it was really, really nice. At one point, they were talking about a woman wearing a very heavy garment, and
Oh,
I had a sensation. I know who it was. It's one of these physical, non-physical beings, entities, whatever you want to call it, but extraterrestrial. I don't know what you want to call it, but I painted paintings of these characters, and what ended up happening was I never finished the paintings. So
Oh,
the clothing on these paintings has remained the heavy canvas. And I feel like that was the representation of what, what you were kind of tuning into or seeing one of these characters. Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, no, I could see her now, and it was almost like those dresses that women wore hundreds of years ago. It was very heavy, kind of big poofy sort of dresses.
That's
Very much the material of like Marie Antoinette would have worn that or something.
okay. Very, very thick. That's so cool. Nice. Right. So that was lovely. Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about your process about coming out? Is it like, for me, it's very quick and almost like disorienting and it
Yes.
just kind of happens? Okay. So it's similar to what I experience. Yeah. Like
I
you just
always
kind of,
recommend have a glass of water.
yeah.
That's the best grounding thing. And the first time you do this, you might be a little bit freaked out. So
Yes.
be surprised. It's really nice to have somebody who's done this work with you,
Hmm.
or at least somebody who's learning about this work with you, because you'll kind of learn together and they'll be like, hey, it's okay.
Mm.
It's also nice to have somebody there asking questions because I'll
Yeah,
never remember my questions when I'm in the trance.
for sure.
I'm used to it. I'm getting used to it now. So it used to take, 20 minutes, and now it's just a minute or two as I
Yeah,
come
it
out.
was quick.
Great to have some crystals around. You
Hmm.
got around. That's
Yeah, I've
great
got my,
energy.
my crystal board behind me there. Yeah.
Right. That's why I was looking at that and with
Yeah.
envy.
Yeah. So, where can people find you? What do you have on offer right now that people might be interested in checking out?
Sure. You can go to moonride.com.au. AU is for Australia, and you can look at what I'm doing. I'm totally reworking the website, but the offerings are pretty much the same. I haven't got there yet, but I'm working on a book. I'm not doing very much of it. I mostly just channeled it, and this awesome fellow that I'm working with is reworking it in some really interesting ways. So yeah, I do past life regressions. I'm very interested in teaching people how to channel. I'll tell you, virtually every single person can channel.
Yeah.
I have almost never had someone that couldn't do it. And the one person that couldn't do it was just doing it in such a specific way that I didn't know enough then to help them.
Hmm.
So I would say everybody can do it and everybody can do it safely. That's what I would show you, is just how to do it without any kind of fear involved.
Sure.
There's people still contact me just to do channeling. I'm much more interested in the trance work, just the one that I've just done. It just so it's just fantastic. I mean, there's nothing like it. So yeah, all of those things are on offer.
Brilliant. Okay, and I'll put also in the show notes your YouTube channel so everyone can go and
Sure.
enjoy your transmissions, etc. And all of those links will be in the show notes as well. I do ask every guest what the word mystic means to them.
Getting in touch with the light. Someone who gets in touch with the light. You may express it in different ways. It could just be you walking through the supermarket smiling at someone. It could be you doing the work that we do. It could be you seeking. But people who touch the light are mystics. And I would say there's a mystic in all of us.
I think that's absolutely the case. And that's what the podcast is all about, to let people tap into their own inner mystic, that part of them that is bridging the physical and the non physical.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wonderful to be alive at this time where we're able to do this.
totally agree. I absolutely agree with that. Do you have any parting messages for anyone who's watching? Something that's coming through you right now that you feel, there's someone out there that's waiting to hear this thing from you?
Well, it's hard to top Yeshua in terms of it. It's not the most easy way to follow. I would say these are very stressful times. It's extremely difficult to stay in the light. It's a kind of crazy schizophrenia that we're going on. If you feel very taxed, give yourself a break. It's just totally normal. And if you can, just the most important thing is, I think Yeshua mentioned, spending time with yourself, turn the devices off, give yourself a break. Um, I'm learning for the first time in my life to go to some kind of unpleasant emotions and just sit with them and be like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm feeling really sad. Nothing in our culture tells us that we're supposed to do that. uh,
Yeah.
but it's kind of necessary. Don't judge yourself too harshly these days. You're going to be experiencing a lot. And if there are things that you feel like it's time to change, no one can take that away from you. No one can prevent you from evolving and moving in direction. No one can stop you from sharing love. You will make mistakes, and accept that. And then as you move through your life, move towards the more loving direction. You don't have to be totally strict with yourself about this. It's impossible. No one, maybe Jesus was the exception, could live in this time without freaking out occasionally. But once that happens, do what you need to do to bring yourself to the light. And I would say, find people like Jessica. Find people who really are able to connect with you in the way that you like to connect.
Mm-hmm.
We're missing community in a massive way.
Yeah.
So if there are people or groups or anything that would help you connect with that community, people who are reflecting back at you in a very positive way, do it. And it has to be a choice. I live in the middle of nowhere, so I have to go to meetups. I make myself go to meetups and make myself, go to events. And you might need to do that too. It could be online if you find it impossible to physically meet people, or you live in a particular place where it's not particularly conducive.
Right.
There are ways to meet online too.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom, for sharing your gift, for sharing everything that you've shared with us today. And like I said, I'll put all the details in the show notes. And I have just so much gratitude for your energy and for your time.
Wonderful, Jessica. I just thought that was just a great, great experience. Thanks so much.
So that's it for today's episode of Some Kind of Mystic. I hope this conversation opened a few doors inside of you, the kind that remind you that you're never walking this path alone, and the light is always closer than you think. If you love this episode, it would mean the world to me if you take a moment to follow the podcast, leave a review, or give it a rating wherever you're listening or watching. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I read every single one. If someone came to mind while you were listening, please send this episode to them. Sharing these conversations is how we grow this beautiful community of mystics who are waking up to their own personal truth. Make sure to come back for all the new episodes that are on the way. We have some incredible guests and transmissions. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this journey. And until next time, keep listening to your own inner mystic.